In this lesson, we will be reviewing how Autodesk Inventor allows us to use snaps to help us define 2D sketch geometry, and also how to drag a sketch and what is the usefulness for that. In this case, I'm in a part file. I'm just going to sketch some simple geometry. And we'll place in a couple angle lines. So it looks something like that. So now, what I'd like to do is I want to place in a circle, but what I want to do is I want to have it at the theoretical intersection of both of those angle lines. So for me to do that, it's going to be very difficult. I could go back, probably use some construction geometry, but there's a better way. So again, after starting up the tool, in this case the circle tool, I'm going to right-click, and I have an option. I can go to a midpoint, center, or intersection. So I'm going to select intersection, and then I'm going to select my two lines. And of course, as you can see, after I have done that, the circle snaps right to the theoretical intersection of those two lines. So now I'm just going to press the escape key, and let's talk a little bit about dragging. So now as I grab that point and grip edit that, which is very familiar to AutoCAD users, the circle is staying exactly at the theoretical intersection. As well, if I move that circle, the lines move. So there's a definite relationship that is tied to that. Now if we review which constraints are being applied there, I'm going to show all the constraints. And if I select on that line and then the opposite line, you'll see that the coincident constraints have been applied utilizing the intersection tool. So let's remove all those constraints. And quickly we'll look at the other options. So in this case, if I start up the line tool, right click, click on midpoint. Now no matter where I select on that line, it will snap right to the midpoint of that line. And again, it will always stay at the midpoint of that. So if that line changes, if I go back and apply a dimension to that specific line, in this case we'll just make it 7 millimeters high, that line segment is always right in the center. So again, let's just start up the line tool again, and the last option here is center. Of course, picking on an arc or the circumference of a circle will go right to that center point. Of course, in this case, you could have also just selected the center point for that starting point as well. One last point in regards to dragging. You can only drag objects that are under constrained. So in this case, you'll notice that I dragged the lower left-hand corner of my geometry to the 0, 0 point, and you'll notice that the color of those two lines changed. So now if I go back and try to drag that endpoint, it will no longer do that. I can't drag the line up or down. Of course, I can still drag the opposite side, make the line longer or shorter, but it is locked down horizontally, and in this case probably perpendicular as well to that. So keep in mind that you can only drag objects that are under constrained.